Hi everyone! Today we're going to be making some fish collages and we're going to be tearing the paper with our fingers. The first thing you're going to do is take a blue piece of paper, and on the paper you're going to draw a big oval and a triangle for the tail. Now I'm going to show you an example kind of how our fish is going to look later. You do not need to draw the eyes or the side fin for this first part. You just need to draw the oval and the triangle shape of the tail. And we're going to keep the tail really simple so it's easier for us later. I'm using a dark colored marker to do this step. Try to draw slowly and carefully and do your very best work. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of scrap paper and we're going to make our fins by tearing the paper into some fin shapes. Now I'm using a piece of neon or fluorescent colored paper, but you can use any kind of scrap paper you have at home or in your classroom. So we're going to be tearing this into some bigger chunks, and I'm just going to take one of those chunks and I'm going to pinch my fingers carefully and try to kind of shape it into what kind of could be a fin shape. And I want one on the top, and I want one smaller one for the side, and that one could be a rectangle or a triangle shape. It's really up to you. Now we're going to take our leftover scrap paper and we're going to layer it together into a little stack, and we're going to tear it into small pieces for scales. And I'm pinching my fingers together and pulling off little pieces of paper. We want to keep them pretty small for this step. We probably don't need to tear up all of our paper. We are going to have some extra left over that we don't really need, but I'm just going to tear a little pile of scales. Now you're going to set your scales aside and you're going to glue your fins on with a glue stick. So grab a glue stick and twist it up a little bit, and then make sure when you use your glue stick on your scales that you put enough glue on. If you don't put enough on, they don't like to stick very well. So with white glue that comes out of a bottle, just a tiny little bit of glue is the right amount. But with a glue stick, you want to use a little more glue than you would with white glue or school glue. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to work a small part of our fish's skin at a time, and you're going to kind of just take a small area and really put a lot of glue stick on that area, directly onto the fish's body in one spot. Not in the whole fish, just pick one spot and put a lot of glue stick on that area. And then we're going to take our scales and we're going to stick them on there. And that's why we don't want to do the whole thing at once, because if we do the whole thing at once, the glue might dry before we get to it. So we're just going to do one small spot, put glue on it, and then stick our scales on in whatever combination of colors you like. Once you have filled up that area, you're going to do the same thing again and fill up the whole rest of your fish with scales. I'm going to leave a little spot at the front for my fish's face, but otherwise I'm going to try to fill up the rest of my fish's body with scales. Now I'm going to set aside all my little scale bits, and I'm going to take another piece of scrap paper and just tear off a little bit of a bigger piece for the eye. It doesn't need to be too big, but I want it to be a little bit bigger than the scales. And I'm going to glue that on, again, using a generous amount of glue stick. And then I'm going to take any scrap paper I have, and if you would like to add any special details to your tail or your fins or anything, this would be a good time. So I'm ripping some smaller strips of paper, and I'm going to use those strips to just add a little more design to my tail and to my fins. Now for this part, you're going to take your markers and you're going to add any final details to your picture. So I'm going to use my markers to draw my eye, my mouth. I could add some more details or designs to my fins or to my tail. I'm actually going to add a background. I'm also going to outline my fish with the marker. So if there's any spots that that got covered up with paper that I would like to show, I'm just going to go and tidy those up with my marker and make sure I can see them. So any final touches that you want to add, this would be a great time. I hope you had fun with this, and I will see you soon.